Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to hang out in between videos, come check out the Discord. We're also doing exclusive content over on Patreon. We're in the middle of Queendom 2. We're doing Mamamoo TV Season 6 right now, as well as Strong Woman Dobong soon and a live concert with Mamamoo this week. Today, though, we are getting into some Dreamcatcher prep for the next comeback that is coming next week. And to do that, we are going to do a kind of deep dive video into the lore of the previous album, VillainS. Very excited about this. I think this is the first time we've done a full lore video on the channel. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited to check it out. All right, so before we start, this video is by Bookish Theories. Go give them a check out if you haven't already. I'm very curious to see what they've got to say about the lore. Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about the lore of Dreamcatcher's VillainS and OOTD, focusing on a full breakdown of the music video, Sasha's vlog, and all the hidden clues that we have to see what they can tell us about the story of this comeback. Now, after completing the Apocalypse trilogy, Dreamcatcher returned with a new two-part series called Versus. The first installment is called VillainS, and as the title implies, this time the girls play the role of villains, ready to do anything in order to get their hands on a powerful crown. As we'll see in a second, this time the lore is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how much they went through the G4
that we can find in the albums, social media, and even in real life, which is also one of the reasons why this video took me so long to make. According to an interview that we can find in the physical copy of the album, in fact, this crown is a mysterious relic that seems to be at least 1,000 years old. According to the legend, this crown was believed to give wealth, honor, and power to those who wear it, but if up until now it was believed to be just a myth, the interview tells us that this crown has actually been found. Now at this point we can say that this is the inciting incident of our story, because
finding the crown.
The events will take place. In the comeback, Dreamcatcher played the double role of themselves and the villains of this story, and in a meta-narrative that blurs the boundaries between reality and fiction, the video follows a girl named Sasha, who is a video editor working on the very MV that she's actually starring in.
Alright, hold on. Okay. So let's slow down a little bit, right? So we know now that the crown is a object of power. It's like the MacGuffin to the story. It's got all these ancient abilities. Everybody thought it was a myth. It's now been found. Our main character is Shasha, and she's a designer, and we are following her vlog on OOTD as she is inside the music video herself. Very meta. Okay, cool. I think I'm following.
Vlog, we discovered that while Sasha is at work, she goes on a website called dreamchat.com. This is a platform where she's seemingly able to catch Dreamcatcher's behind-the-scenes live stream, but while she's watching the live, another user joins the chat. This user goes by the name Imenekra, and as we'll see in a second, this account will lure Sasha into a deadly trap that will turn her into a human sacrifice, which is also the last one needed by Dreamcatcher to get the crown. This is just the tip of the iceberg, however, because as soon as we scratch the surface and dig a bit deeper into the lore, we discovered that the Imenekra themselves is actually a victim just like Sasha. In the story, Dreamcatcher need a total of 100 sacrifices to get the crown. Sasha is number 100, and the Imenekra themselves is number 99. In the physical copy of the album, a newspaper article tells us that an incident is going viral on social media. Lately, a lot of people have gone missing in mysterious circumstances, and while the police is stumped because of the lack of evidence, on social media people are starting to suspect that the disappearances might have something to do with a series of strange events. Many of the missing people, in fact, have been reported to act very strangely prior to their disappearance.
So this is the effect of the crown, perhaps, right? Like that it's causing these this strange behavior. But I remember there were 90 people that were with them in the room in the video at the end, and they asked if we would like to join them. But it seems like she's like the creator here is saying, excuse me, that Dreamcatcher is the villains of the story who are actually intent on sacrificing all 100 people for the crown. Okay. Sorry if I pause and like re-explain things. A lot of it is for me to understand myself as we go along, as this is moving quite quickly.
They started developing an obsession towards certain items, suffer from paranoia. They started to have erratic behavior, memory loss, and even starting to feel a presence lingering outside of their door. The article also says that the missing people supposedly received a letter before undergoing this sudden change, and this caused chaos on social media. This is because the more this news started to spread, the more people started reporting to have received the very same letter. Both netizens and the police suspected the disappearances are indeed connected to this document, and on the article we can see a copy of it and what it contains. Incidentally, a copy of the letter also seems to have been printed on the physical CD, so in a way, whoever bought the album also received the letter like in the story. Anyway, the letter was written by an anonymous person that addresses
That's a nice
himself
touch.
as one of the lucky ones. The stranger says that everyone wants wealth, power, and eternal life, and it so happens that they're on their way to enjoy all these beautiful things. This is obviously thanks to the crown that will grant them all of this abundance, and the reason why they're writing the letter is to share with others this incredible information. The sender says that it would be a waste to keep the crown to themselves, so they chose to spread the news with this letter, which in and of itself is a privilege.
So, which seems like a honey trap from
the stranger is in a location
Dreamcatcher in this case.
looking for the crown, but get this, they also know that all these people are sleeping. Sure they are, no need to get alarmed. Now, since they are quote-unquote sleeping, the writer decides to walk carefully not to step on them. They figured they probably came for the crown too, but as they walk towards it, the stranger suddenly forgets what he went there for. Now, starting from this point on, the letter gets increasingly more confusing. The sender catches themselves and remember they came for the crown, which is able to open up a new world and make you feel like flying. The crown will save you, they say, but wait, now they don't want it anymore. Then they do, but no, they want to go home, but then they don't. They want to stay because that's the right choice, but no, it's not. This is all wrong. As the letter goes on,
so it's they're fighting in their...
It's like they're having an inner battle with two sides wanting two different things, and in a way, this is exactly what
it's like the possession by the crown.
The letter is written by a human. It's actually the crown talking. It's the crown that is using one of its victims to lure in more victims with the letter. So midway through, we see the person trying to regain control of themselves and escape the power of the crown. The victim wants to go home, but the crown doesn't allow it. As the person tries to...
So is the crown itself is sentient?
By the end, the crown takes over once and for all and starts talking about itself in first person. The crown says that what is written in the letter is correct. The crown is beautiful and it sparkles. It can give you anything you ever wanted, and now it's inviting you to come so you can have it. The crown is calling on those who received the letter, and by the time they read this, all of them will be one of the lucky ones. As it turns out, one of the lucky ones is none other than Imenekra, which in the story is one of the sources that allowed the situation to go viral on social media like the article reported. A few weeks before comeback, in fact, a mysterious account called Imenekra99 appeared on real-life Twitter, fittingly tweeting a total of 99 messages. If you want to check it out, the account is still up to date and it's linked in the description down below. Since it's all in Korean and I like to suffer, however, I went to the entire account and collected all the information that you need to know, so sit back because there's quite a lot to unpack. Now, Imenekra99 is an account belonging to a female student that one day discovered it on her phone along with a similar account over here on YouTube. Having no memory of creating these accounts, she's creeped out by the entire situation, so from October 12th onwards, she starts tweeting asking netizens for help to figure out what is going on. She reveals that she's been experiencing strange things, and it all began on September 9th when she found a mysterious letter on her way home from her birthday party. Since she was drunk, she decided to pick it up and open it.
And this was the letter from the crown?
The next day, she has no memory of what happened. At the time, she didn't think anything of it because she was intoxicated, but from the day onwards, she started suffering from memory loss. When she discovered the new accounts, she figured that she might have created them in one of those moments she doesn't remember, but what creeped her out was this picture right here, which appeared without her posting it and is seemingly impossible to delete. Imenekra thinks she might have been hacked, but when a second picture appears out of nowhere, one of Imenekra's friends freaks out just as much as her. The account 9 My Name is 1 is Imenekra's BFF, and their account was also created for the purpose of the story. Later on, this person will show up again, but in the meantime, they're just trying to help Imenekra understand what is going on. She's very confused about the entire situation, but one thing that begins to emerge at this point is that the girl is developing an obsession with crowns. Imenekra seems self-aware about this. On October 14th, for instance, she reveals that the people in her life think that she's behaving like a different person. While hanging out with friends, one of them was drawing a a crown when all of a sudden she snatched the picture and destroyed it. Not only that, she even tore apart a crown keyring from the bag of a stranger, and this is not how she usually behaves.
Okay, so Yemenenko, I can't pronounce that username. Y99, right, is what I'll call her for this, is starting to go insane, basically, with this obsession of the crown. And the letter, which I'm not sure if it's the same letter that's being sent out afterwards, possesses her with the crown itself and starts like pushing her through this social media account to spread the word of the crown and make it go viral so that they can find more people for the human sacrifices. I still don't know how the crown and Dreamcatcher at this point are working together, or if Dreamcatcher is just searching for the crown for its power, and whether the crown itself is a sentient being or not. It sounds like it is.
Obsession with crowns began the day she found the letter, but strangely enough, since then she also became convinced that everything would be resolved the moment she found the crown. As her obsession grows, on X we have radio silence for a few days, but on October 17th something got uploaded here on YouTube. This is an unlisted video titled C, and you can find the link in the description down below. The video is only 7 seconds long, but it shows 7 different crowns accompanied by the message, "Find your real crown, you soon desire it too." As part of the promotional campaign for VillainS, this account also started to comment on many of the videos that we can find on Dreamcatcher's
That
channel.
I remember.
If you click on the profile, it seems that she left about 33 messages spread all over the channel, but as far as I can tell, these comments include similar phrases as the ones that we also find in OTD and other platforms. It's stuff like, "Come join us, this place is already full of people, over 90 people already joined," or something like, "The crown will be perfect only when the white carpet turns red." These are all phrases that also show up in the video and in the album, but in a comment left under Deja Vu, another piece of lore is actually added. In this comment, Imenekra says that having made a pact with God, quote-unquote he faced the flames every day. In these puzzling flames, an unknown power was felt, and through this power they saw another world. Now, since Dreamcatcher,
So who is this he?
and Imenekra
Yeah.
are all girls, at this point it's unclear who made the pact with God. It could be a character we meet in the next installment, maybe it's the devil, maybe it's the crown itself, I don't know, but keep this other world thing in mind because we'll come back to this. In the meantime, however, a couple of days later, Imenekra goes back on X. She starts asking people to DM her if they developed a crown obsession like she did, after which she receives a text from the crown itself. On the same day, she also talks about a recurring dream that she's been having. She dreamt about stepping on a red carpet and climbing the stairs, but at this time she still cannot piece all the clues together.
Yeah, neither can I.
However, she grows more confident in her quest. After people DM'd her about the crown, now she thinks that she'll be able to find it, but this positive attitude is very short-lived. After another mysterious picture is uploaded, Imenekra starts calling out those who are contacting her, because as it turns out, the majority of people are just there to make fun of her. She is frustrated because they don't understand how important
Too
this
real.
is for her, so she decides to address the entire situation to clear out some points. First and foremost, she insists on the crown. If anybody found it, she wants a picture of it, and if anybody's obsessed with it, she wants to know that too. The second point addresses something else that has been happening lately, which is a mysterious presence lingering outside of the door. This is the same thing reported in the article from the album.
Is it their door? But it's the door.
On her account. In her message, she wants to know if anybody has opened the door when feeling this presence, after which she clarifies that Twitter and YouTube are the only Imenekra accounts. The door problem, though, is far from over, because it turns out that this presence has been showing up every day for over a week. It comes, it knocks on the door, and the girl is scared because she thinks that she might actually be hallucinating. At the time this was posted, Imenekra even did a poll to decide her next move, and Sonia ended up voting to open the door next time somebody knocked. Sure enough, the girl did exactly that. Somebody knocked, she opened the door, but on the other side there was no one. She only found another copy of the letter she already received, but no additional clues are discovered. On October 27th, though, a new picture is posted, and this time the hint is huge. In the photo, a hand that is turning black is portrayed touching a mirror whose reflection doesn't match the subject. The next day, Imenekra reveals that somebody sent her a link of the manufacturer manufacturer of this mirror, and wouldn't you know it, it's a company called C. The mirror sold by company C has the same crown logo that she saw on the letters, so even if at this point she doesn't understand the correlation, she starts piecing together that the letter and the mirror have the same origin. A couple of days later, yet another picture.
Wasn't there some sort of promotion where Insomnia could buy a copy of that mirror and there was only like 100 ever made?
Is posted, but the girl doesn't have any reaction to it. Instead, she's still fixated on the mirror, which is the topic of the next thread. On November 2nd, she recounts that something strange has happened at school. One of her friends was bragging about something they brought to class. When they pulled it out of the bag, it was the mirror from Company C, and this is pretty much all that Imenekra could remember. She blacked out after that, but once she got home, she found the mirror in her hand. Not knowing how she ended up there, she decided to call her friend, and it turns out that she attacked the person who brought the mirror and wouldn't stop harassing them until she was able to get it. When she called the victim, not only this friend told her not to contact them anymore, but the other friends in her life decided to leave one by one, too weirded out by her behavior. At this point, the girl thinks that the only way to fix this mess is to find the crown, because she's still convinced that the crown will solve all of her problems. A few days later, however, a new picture is posted.
This person's got a shit deal.
In the picture, she sees the red carpet that she saw in a recurring dream. The photo triggered a memory of this place, so what she thought was a dream might actually have been real all along. After having the same dream of climbing the stairs over and over again, in fact, now she remembers another dream of her running away from somebody. She's still in the red place, but this time she finally sees the crown for the very first time. Wanting to get away, she runs to it and touches it, but when she does, Imenekra has a vision of people brutally fighting over the crown. The voices of these people warn her that she too will become like them, after which she woke up and never had the dream again. After a mysterious picture of a messy interrogation room appears on her account, the girl
this is such a deep rabbit hole.
Soon, but she's worried about the increased frequency of her memory loss. As time passes, it seems that this character is less and less in control of herself, but even if she went to the hospital, not even the doctors understand the cause of the problem. In the meantime, though, another picture is uploaded and it's the red place again. This photo actually gives us a huge clue, because if you look closely, there is a message written backwards that says "swallow me." This is super important because the message is mirrored, meaning that the red place where the crown is might actually be another world instead of the reflection. This would explain the comment left under Deja Vu, but also why Company C, which might either stand for Company Crown, Company Curse, or both, actually produces mirrors that can then be used to access this realm. If we go back and take a look at the messages, the picture of the red place first appears after the girl steals the Company C mirror from her friend, and this causes an increase of strange events. In a thread from November 12th, in fact, the girl talks about an incident that for once she was able to remember. On her way to the convenience store, she was waiting for the signal at a crosswalk when all of a sudden she saw a truck with the picture of the crown that she also saw on the letter and on the mirror. This is the same truck that we also saw in OTD, and much like
I remember that truck. Okay.
By the urge to follow it. When she starts chasing.
1 second. All right. So, this rabbit hole is insane, and I can't believe that we're only like 14 minutes into this video of 40 minutes long. There is so much lore here. But this girl, Y99, is got such a raw deal on this. But it does the mirror portal thing. I do wonder how that's going to tie into Virtuous, right? Are there heroes in this other realm as well that will stand up and fight against the power of the crown? Because it seems like the crown here is the villain. And Dreamcatcher, who is facilitating the sacrifice to get the crown, are also villains, but the crown itself are kind of like the main villains.
It, she soon notices that the truck almost wants her to go after it. Whenever she was about to lose it, the truck would slow down enough for her to catch up, and she's so focused on her task that she starts running in the middle of the road. It's only when she's almost run over by a car that she's able to snap out of it, and when she does, the truck is nowhere to be found. Wondering what would have happened if she followed it all the way, Imenekra goes home, but the next day the account uploads yet another picture, and this time it's of Imenekra herself. The mirrored message on the photo says "I know your mind," mind, meaning that the entity behind all of this is essentially taking over her. It's like the person who wrote the letter. One side of them was actually the person themselves, and the other was the crown possessing them to do its bidding. In a similar way, Menekra's life is splitting into two. The girl who found the letter is the one trying to make sense of what is happening, but then there's times where she's not in control of herself. These are
Which
times
is
that are
the
uncountable
picture of her
she doesn't remember them,
grabbing
and
the
it's possible
bars?
that it's this side of her that created the accounts and is posting the pictures. Fittingly enough, in fact, the name Menekra is actually the word archenemy spelled backwards. The girl who is posting on these accounts is the annoying victim of the archenemy that comes from the world in the mirror, so even if she knows that something is off, she's being tricked into believing that the source of her problem is actually the solution. Even if the girl stops going out, she's never left alone. At this point, she starts receiving strange phone calls from the number 000 OOTD. Initially, she thinks it might be spam calls, but since she's bored and wants to tell somebody about the crown, she decides to answer the call only to be left extremely confused by it. When she answers, a voice delivers a message she doesn't understand, and to be honest, I don't blame her. Check it out.
여보세요? 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 네? 네? 여보세요?
In the audio, the voice on the other
Okay.
side is actually
Yeah,
talking
it's
in reverse.
reversed.
The message is mirrored like the ones found in the pictures, and in particular this recording tells her to follow the mark of the crown, which is also the same clue that we find in OTD. Speaking of mirrored messages, in the next picture we see a crime scene at the bottom of which another hint is revealed. This is actually a lyric spoiler for the song Rising, after which the girl tells us about another strange incident. Seeing that staying home didn't help, she decided to go out for a walk, and she suddenly felt the need to dress up in a very fancy way. After spending hours deciding her OTD, she eventually went out feeling super confident and amazing. She went for a walk, she started window shopping until she saw a hat that she really liked. Going in the store to try it on, she suddenly felt the urge to steal it. It was only when she saw her reflection on the door on her way out that she snapped out of it, and shocked by her own behavior, she wonders if this is also because of the crown. Now this incident ties us right back to the
Interesting.
main concept of VillainS and OTD, which is the use of flashy and unique fashion as a symbol of confidence. The core theme of the series is to encourage people to be unapologetically confident without being afraid of being called a villain, and in the story the girl is starting to act like one. She dresses up to express her confidence, which is great and all, but all of a sudden she starts acting like a villain who is greedy and does everything she wants. Fittingly enough, it's only when she sees the mirror image of herself that she regains control, once again playing on the fact that there are two sides of her with contrasting goals and desires. In the next post, the crown is finally
This
revealed,
isn't the
and
first
word
time they've
crown is
played
written in
with
different languages, obviously mirrored.
mirrors
Then we
before
have the picture
too.
of a receipt, which sends the girl into a panic because she doesn't remember spending that much money, but as it turns out she actually did. She checks her bank account and the money is missing, and when she goes around the house she finds new clothes and luxury items. Now at this point this lady doesn't even have money to pay rent anymore. She spends
Jeez.
everything to buy things she cannot afford, but her initial panic subsides the moment she thinks about the crown. She figures that to become a person worthy of the crown she should start dressing up like one, so she decides to keep the clothes confident that she will get the crown soon enough anyway. On the same day, the picture of a written message is posted on her account. The message says, "You have to be worthy of the crown," and the next day the girl realizes that it was written on her own personal diary. Later on, she actually meets up with the only friend that she has left, which is the person with the account called 9 My Name Is 1. On her way to this friend's house, the girl sees a lipstick falling out of the pocket of a stranger walking in front of her. On the lipstick, she sees the logo of the crown, so she's initially tempted to keep it, but she eventually decides to call up the stranger and give them the lipstick back. Now this person is very grateful for this act of kindness, but instead of just thanking her and then moving along, the stranger gives her a suitcase in exchange for the lipstick. At first the girl
I
refuses,
see.
as she
Okay.
should, but she eventually accepts it and even brings it to her friend's house. Not only that, during her visit they don't even open it, and the girl eventually forgets it at their house. Since they made plans to meet again the next weekend, the Menekra figures they should get it back then, but boy oh boy was she wrong. From this point on, in fact, there's an escalation of events. Another picture is posted telling her to steal and remember the story told by the mirror. The girl doesn't remember what the mirror said, but she does remember her friend saying that it congratulated her on being the 99th lucky person. The next day we see a video of the girl running in the street and recording several flyers about the crown, the last of which not only is glitching in real life, but is addressed directly to her. On the flyer, the message reminds her that she picked up the letter, she opened the door, she already knows about the crown, crown, so now she must accept it and burn the paper out of sight of the crown. That night, the girl has a very vivid dream. She's in the red place again, she comes across the stairs, and like the other times, she starts climbing them. On top, she finally finds the crown, but when she goes to touch it, a force pushes her away and she falls down the stairs. Unable to move after the fall, the girl sees people appearing out of nowhere and starting to fight each other for the crown. When only one was left, this person climbed to the crown and wore it, but as soon as they put it on, them and all the other victims disappeared and the shape of the crown changed, which kind of connects us right back to the video posted on YouTube. Anyway, in the dream, the girl sees this event repeating several times. A group of people appears, then they all kill each other, then one wins the crown, but as soon as they put it on, the people disappear and the crown changes shape to start over again. In the dream, this happens many times, meaning that the crown has been claiming the lives of thousands of people at this point.
Because it's 100 each time.
The entire thing unfolds.
So she's watching the history of the crown?
Finally changes into the one with the purple gems. She's finally able to stand up, and instead of running in the opposite direction like I would, she goes straight up the stairs and to the crown. In the dream, Imenekra sees 7 people with crowns, and one of them steps forward to crown her. This is very similar to what we'll see happening to Sasha at the end of OOTD, but in the video, the girl doesn't suffer the same destiny. The dream conveniently cuts off the moment she's crowned, so when she wakes up, she's furious that it was all a dream. Later that day, the recording of an alarm ringing was added in the replies of this post right here, and I actually think that it might be directly connected to the message encouraging the girl to quote-unquote steal it. Bear in mind, one of the concepts of the album is set in a police station, and many of the photos include bars, crime scene tapes, as well as references to a crime. Since the girl already stole the mirror and was about to steal the hat a few days ago, it's possible that her need to find the crown is turning her into a full-on villain. Another possibility, however, is that this is a test to understand whether or not the girl is fully compliant. The picture gave her an order, and this order was to steal this object circled in black. Next thing we know, we hear an alarm ring.
What is that object?
Followed this order and did exactly that. She didn't back out like what happened with the hat. She stole whatever she had to, and I think that this event marks the point of no return here. A few hours later, in fact, the girl tells us that she received a DM from the editor of a well-known magazine. Since her content on the crown has been going viral, the editor wants to interview her to know more about it, and the girl is super excited. Acquiring more popularity means to become more worthy of the crown, so she accepts and thanks all of her followers for making her famous. Her accepting this interview, however, seems to be the very thing that will doom her for good. The next day, a reply is added to this post, and the message is not written by the girl, but by somebody congratulating her for being the 99th lucky one. After this post, the girl's messages become stranger and stranger. Like the letter, it seems that the girl is having a back and forth with the other entity controlling the account, so it's like Imenekra the archenemy versus the 99th victim, and even she is confused. The post comments on the fact that the crown keeps changing. It questions...
Sorry if I'm like super silent through all this. It's moving so fast and I'm trying really hard to like pay attention. But like this is intense, right? Like everything's spiraling out of control for this archenemy 99 character, and it's kind of a tragic story, right? Because it seems like they were not, intentionally trying to become a villain and get Sasha involved in this, but that it was like an unconscious, uncontrollable urge due to the possession by the crown. What I do wonder is how this kind of relates to what felt like some of OOTD was felt like an industry commentary on the hidden side of glamour as well, and the confidence to a point of becoming a villain didn't seem like it was necessarily a aspirational thing, but a cautionary tale too. So I wonder how they're going to wrap that up. Maybe it's just because the crown itself is causing all of this, that like it's not something that we should view as desirable,
whether the crown did choose the girl after all, but this message was not posted by her, and in the next tweet she tells the audience not to get fooled by it. Almost as a reply to what the girl is saying, however, the next message lets her know that it's not trying to be deceitful. It just wants to say that the crown keeps changing, but the true owner of the crown would still be able to recognize it. The girl agrees with this post. She thinks that she'd be able to recognize it. No, she's sure of it, because she knows exactly what the crown looks like. Now, this is precisely what the archenemy wants to hear. Since he doubted the girl's claim to the crown, the girl doubled down to prove that she's the chosen one because she knows what the real crown looks like. This is all a trick, of course, because it's the archenemy itself that showed it to her in the first place, but the girl is falling for it anyway. It seems that to become a sacrifice, you must be committed to the cause. It's not just a case of the villains kidnapping people and then killing them, it's a matter of them wanting to die for the crown, or at the very least, them being willing to risk it all for it. Since at this point the girl is committed,
so there's some sort of like agreement.
Crown, so it instructs her to burn the papers about it. In the meantime, the Somnias in the comments are going wild. One person actually tries to warn the girl. They tell her to be careful because she's talking to the crown right now, but the girl at this point is too far gone. She thanks them for their concern, and then she reveals to have burned the papers but nothing happened. She expected the crown to appear but it didn't, and promises to update everyone in case it does. This finally leads us to November 21st, the day before the release of the album, as well as the final day Imenekra will ever post on this account. In the first post of the day, the message expresses regret for talking about the crown on a public platform. This means that now more people might desire it for themselves, and in the replies, the girl is shocked. She wants to know who is writing this, and then she tells everybody not to read any further because this is not her writing. All the girl ever wanted was to find the crown and solve everything, but it's obvious that things are getting out of hand at this point. In the next post, the archenemy admits it was a mistake daring others to covet the crown. The crown is theirs and theirs alone, to which the girl wants the archenemy to stop posting pretending to be her. As you can imagine, this so-called warning is almost funny to the archenemy. The entity behind Imenekra made all her desires come true. The girl's heart was easily seduced, so the archenemy tells her to look deep inside and admit that she was thinking this way all along. Realizing that Imenekra not only knows her mind, but also her heart's deepest secrets and desires, the girl finally understands who she's been talking to. Her enemy is the crown itself, and in the next couple of messages, it's it talking. It tells us that at this point we're probably looking for it too, and all we have to do is to close our eyes and imagine. The moment we get that shiny thing that now we desire too, a new world will unfold, so the crown invites us to come to it and wait together for the 100th lucky person. Here's the thing though, this message also contains a hidden clue, and once you uncover it, it's actually insane. If you look
a hidden
closely,
clue?
among the Korean characters there are also Roman letters. Once you
Okay, hold on. What? So you to YouTube. It's a YouTube link?
put them together, it literally creates a working link to a YouTube video, and what video is that? None other than Sasha's vlog, which is the 100th lucky person chosen by the VillainS. In the very last message on the Imenekra account, the girl says that now it's time to leave for the interview, after which the girl goes missing and is never seen again. We know this because the magazine interview she's referring to is actually the one that we find in the album. After explaining what the crown is, in fact, the interview continues by introducing us to Miss Say, which is none other than the girl posting on the Imenekra account. During this interview, Miss Say is actually crowned by the mysterious interviewer, so the conversation is all about her feelings about finally obtaining the object of her desires. The girl says that after wearing it, everyone bowed to her. She felt like she had everything, and treasures of silver and gold appeared on her hands. Miss Say cannot believe that this is finally happening, and she's so happy that she wishes everybody could wear the crown like her. Midway through the interview, however, things start to change. Yes, the crown is able to make all difficult thoughts disappear. It makes the air smell like a flower field, but Miss Say is starting to sweat, and everything is getting warmer. The interviewer continues with her questions, but now Miss Say's feet are no longer on the ground. She feels her eyes closing, but the interviewer doesn't care. They are unfazed. It's almost as if it was a trap all along, and Miss Say completely fell for it. And sure enough, this is exactly what is happening. After being lured with the excuse of the interview, the girl the archenemy chose was given the crown like she desired. She was the 99th lucky person after all, but her luck luck ran out pretty fast. The lucky ones are the sacrifices that must die for Dreamcatcher the VillainS to win, so as the interview continues, Missy meets a very unfortunate fate. By the end, the interviewer thanks her many times for participating in this interview. They tell us that the crown is in the sea inside the museum, and Missy left like powder. Now this powder thing will come back around later on, but for now what I can tell you is that Missy didn't have the happy ending that she wanted.
Yeah, no duh.
As we'll see in a second, she's not the only one. As you know, there is still one sacrifice that Dreamcatcher must find, and the victim has already been chosen.
Sasha.
This finally brings us to Sasha, the last lucky one of the 100. As I mentioned before, Sasha is a video editor that is also a Somnia herself, so Dreamcatcher found her on the Dreamchat platform that fans used to engage with them in this fictional universe. In her vlog we see that Sasha is first approached by an account called Dimenecra, and as we already saw with Missy, we know that this is definitely bad news.
Yep.
Like what happened with the previous victim, Sasha starts receiving messages asking if she believes in the power of the crown, to follow the mark of the crown if she does. Then Dimenecra tries to convince her by saying that she had everything the moment she put it on her head, and I guess that this is true if we think of Missy's experience, even if that feeling didn't last very long. Dimenecra also mentioned that she was saved in her dream, and like she already wrote on YouTube, the crown will be perfect only when the white carpet will turn red. Now, knowing what we know now, I think that this comment was kind of
I see. So the white carpet turning red with blood?
The carpet was always red, but in the concept photos, Dreamcatcher are indeed portrayed in a location that at first is white and then turns red when the crown appears. To me, this could mean that the white carpet might turn red with the blood of the sacrifices, and this picture right here seems to confirm this as well. In Missy's visions, she always saw it red because she was witnessing the victims that came before her, not just the 98 of this particular crown, but also the other thousands that fell while coveting the crown's other shapes. In Sasha's experience, however, we see that the carpet is still white when she finally gets to the crown, meaning that it will turn red with her sacrifice. In the concept photos, this is also portrayed with Dreamcatcher interacting with the statues, which in this context kind of symbolize the victims of this evil. In the white space, they both seduce them and strangle them, and this very much hints at the way these victims are lured into this situation. At first, the lucky ones are seduced by the prospect of getting the crown, but this desire is deadly because they're just a means to someone else's goal. As Dimenecra herself says, the victim's fate is not up to them, it's up to the...
The weird thing that I'm finding about this lore so far, right, is that, like, Dreamcatcher doesn't have a direct influence in the story or the lore all that much, right? Like, Dreamcatcher doesn't show up as characters in the story very much, other than to talk to Sasha on the Dreamchat platform, and then to crown her themselves at the end of the music video. But like for the most of this is the crown itself interacting with Y99 or Miss A. I guess we can call her Miss A now. So it's a little confusing to see what their actual involvement with the crown is, right? Like, are they just facilitators to the crown's purpose? Like, are they part of the 100 people, but the crown has like let them live as a way to gather the rest of its sacrifices? Are they, aware of what the crown does and are trying to use it for their own means? I don't really know.
The crown, so they're like puppets in the hands of a much bigger entity. Like Missy, at this point Sasha has very little control over her destiny because she has already been chosen. By asking her to join her and the 90 plus people that are already there, Dimenecra gives her the illusion of choice, but to be honest, her fate is already decided. In DMV, we see that the more Sasha edits Dreamcatcher's video, that is, the more she alters their reality, the more their villain alter ego interfere with hers. While Dreamcatcher distracts her and lure her in, Dimenecra's messages grow more insistent and the power of the crown more overwhelming. Like what happened to Missy on X, at one point Sasha begins to follow a truck with the logo of the crown. Like before, the truck slows down if Sasha is about to lose it, but this time the outcome is different. Missy was on foot when she saw the truck, so at one point she was able to snap out of it before reaching her destination. In the video, however, we see that Sasha is in a car, so she's able to follow the truck until the end, no problem. Unfortunately for her, this is not a good thing, because her following following the track only means to reach her final destination much sooner. By the end of
Yeah.
the video,
So they
Sasha
find the
experiences
crown
something
and
similar to one of the
Dreamcatcher.
dreams that Miss Say recounted on X. After climbing the stairs on the white carpet, Sasha finds herself in front of 7 people, which are none other than Dreamcatcher themselves. Like in Miss Say's dream, one of them steps forward and crowns the lucky one, but this time Sasha doesn't wake up like Miss Say did. This is not a dream for Sasha, it's real life, and in real life she dies the moment Gio crowns her. The video ends with the haunting visual of Sasha's computer screen asking us the audience to join the journey as well, but in the story Dreamcatcher's plan has succeeded. After
Right, they've gotten their 100
VillainS
sacrifices.
now have the 100 sacrifices they need in order to get the crown. So what happens now? Is the story over? Well, as a matter of fact, not at all actually, and here's why. At the beginning I told you that some parts of the lore were also found in real life, and this is exactly what happens next. As Somnia that attended a fan sign actually found a mystery code on the attendance card. Down below I'll leave you the credits and links of both the case Somnia that found it and the person that translated it, but to make a long story short, the code on the card led them to a cafe called Mailroom Shindang. On the attendance card,
goodness.
the hint was, are you ready to be a villain too? And if so, they needed to order a crown. When Somnias got to the cafe, they did, and with the coffee they also received a USB with an MP3 and a text document saved inside. Now as far as I know, there were
Dreamcatcher Company went insane with this one.
Each of them a different MP3 file going from 1 to 7. The text document instead seems to be the same for all 7 USBs, and it actually contained the following message. As you found this because you were lucky, she was just unlucky. Remember that everyone can be a target. Make a responsible choice in a wave of temptation. The 7 audios instead were all different, and each of them contained a piece of conversation among Dreamcatcher themselves. According to the accounts that put all of this together, the audios were full of static noise, but when they eventually spliced the speaking parts all together, a full conversation emerged. Now this part is crazy here.
This is
because
insane,
this
right?
conversation
Like,
is
yes.
basically the 7 villains plotting and planning to get to the crown. Everything that we've seen so far is confirmed in this conversation, and some more info are revealed as well. If you want to hear it for yourself, I'll link it down below with the rest, but overall this is what they say. As they gather around, the girls make the point of the situation, and Gio asks if they only need one more person. Handon confirms that since Miss Say wore the crown during the interview, they only need one more, which might actually point
So
out
they
the
are
fact
the
that Handon
interviewers.
herself might have been
Yeah.
the interviewer. Either way, Guyon wants to go a bit faster this time, and Sue agrees, but she also thinks that they should use the truck again. With Miss Say it only failed because of a car, so they think that the final victim might fall for it too. As we see in the video, she was right, but as for deciding who the final victim will be, it's Gio the one who seemingly goes for Sasha. She thinks they should choose among their followers, and Sasha's OTD caught her attention, which is why they eventually decide to choose her. Now at this point, Sue actually brings up a very important question, which is who among them will win the crown once they sacrifice the final person. So far they work
Interesting.
together to lure in the victims, but now time is running out, and all of them want the crown for themselves. Dami thinks it should be her because she looks the best with it, but Shion is ready to fight. She should be the one wearing the crown because she's the one who lured in the most victims, but Hyun thinks that she's being ridiculous. Guyon says that if the crown doesn't go to her, she'd go report them all to the police, but Handong shuts her up real quick by reminding her that she's an accomplice as well.
So now
Sue
there's
agrees. As
infighting.
the girls keep fighting, the recording ends with Gio silencing them all because somebody might hear them. This means that the audio doesn't tell us who wins the crown, but the concept photos actually might. In the pictures, in fact, we do see them fighting and manipulating each other. After ending the victims, the 7 villains turn on each other, and it's pretty clear that they're dead set on getting the crown. By the end, it seems that it's Gio the one who ends up getting it after defeating Guyon. She's the only one pictured wearing the crown, so it seems that by the end she'll be the winner of it all. The story, however, is not over yet, because if you remember, there is still another character we need to check up on.
More?
When Minecraft's account was first created, there was
Oh,
a
my
friend who
name-
was
my
helping
name
the girl
is
figure out the
Juan?
truth. They were supposed to see each other again, but she disappeared, so he still has the suitcase that the stranger gave her on the street.
Right,
And his ex
the
account
suitcase.
wonders what happened to him in Necra 99. They were supposed to meet up that weekend, and she was supposed to get the suitcase back, but she never came. She went missing before she ever could, and now the friend is worried because the girl is not the type of person to act this way. He suspects
Although
that the
maybe
crime had something
recently.
to do with her disappearance, and he's also afraid of the suitcase that he was given. He's scared that if he opened it, the same thing that happened to the girl would happen to him as well, so he goes on X to ask for help. On December 10th at 5 o'clock, he'll bring the suitcase to the CBS building in Seoul. That's the place they shoot Inkigayo at, and that day Dreamcatcher were there to promote the song for
I
Songs.
see.
In the message,
This is
fans says that
they
doesn't
involve
know
their
about
music
Vanessa
shows
will
too?
recognize him, and if they do, they should go talk to him and he'll give them the suitcase. Sure enough, this is exactly what happened. The day Dreamcatcher were promoting, so Somnias were attending and waiting for this dude to actually show up. Like he said on X, it was easy to recognize him because the dude carrying the suitcase was wearing a mask and a Dreamcatcher robe. He dropped the suitcase like he said he would, and then pissed out, leaving Somnias to look for clues. Now, according to the videos of
Holy
the
crap.
attending, the suitcase contained quite a few hints. The first thing that came up was actually a police report regarding a person called Becky G. According to the report, E.G. is a witness to a crime, and in a little Easter egg, we can see that the case number of this crime is 170113, which is
debut.
none other than the date of Dreamcatcher's debut. The report was filed on September 9th, and this is important as well because that is also the day this story kinda began. If you remember, September 9th was the birthday of Imenekra 99/Miss Say.
Holy crap, this went so deep. Did they hire, like, I imagine that Charlie Day, Always Sunny picture
conversation between the police department and
in DCC's office.
Seems to be extremely agitated. This is because she's been the witness of a disappearance and no one believes her. According to the report, E.G. saw people wearing silver hats and leather jackets placing a crown over a person, and this person started to glow and eventually disappeared. Now, right off the bat, this is very interesting because E.G.'s description very much fits one of Dreamcatcher's OOTDs. In the final scene of the video, when Gio crowns Sasha, the girls are indeed wearing silver hats and leather jackets, so E.G. must have witnessed a very similar scene. Since the report was filed in September on the same day Miss Say found the letter, it's possible that E.G. saw Dreamcatcher claiming victim 98, and by the looks of it, this person suffered the same destiny as both Sasha and Miss Say. During the interrogation, in fact, E.G. specified that the person didn't disappear in the sense that they got kidnapped, they disappeared in the sense that the victims
And they turned into powder, which is...
they were gone. If you remember, this is exactly what happened to Miss Say during the
Yeah.
interview, and considering the description of the VillainS OOTDs, I think it's safe to assume that Sasha suffered the very same destiny. The moment Dreamcatcher crowned the sacrifice, the crown turns them into dust, but this time a person
So it,
caught
like,
them in the act.
literally
After seeing what
disintegrates
happened,
them?
Jean ran straight to the police, but now she's growing frustrated because no one believes her. This particular detective, however, reassures her that they're actually investigating this incident in secret. So far they didn't have much evidence, but now that they have a witness, it could be a game changer. E.G. also thinks that all of this mess has something to do with the crown, and the investigator agrees, so he tells her to contact them immediately if she ever receives a mysterious letter. The report ends with the investigator promising to keep her up to date, and E.G. signing the statement. The next clue found in the suitcase is a signed Polaroid of Dreamcatcher wearing their sacrifice OOTDs. The final clue instead is a mirror with a message written backwards. The message simply says don't trust them, and it obviously refers to the 7 villains of this story. This
Again with the mirror.
To the end of this video because these are all the clues that I could find about the lore. Up until now we don't know who gave the suitcase to Miss Say and what would have happened if she opened it before going to the interview. Maybe she would have survived, or maybe nothing would have changed because it's the crown that chooses one's fate. One thing that I can tell you though is that maybe new answers will be given in the second and final installment of the Versus series. As of right now, we already know that part 2 will...
So maybe, right, like, the person who opened or gave her the suitcase is the virtuous side of the storyline, right? Like they're the heroes that are trying to change fate, right? Because like she's saying here that it's a parallel story with an alternative ending. Maybe it's kind of like a time travel / alternate dimension story where like they're coming from another world where they figured out how to stop the crown.
Will be a parallel story with an alternative ending as opposed to the one that we had this time. So who knows, maybe in the future all the
May a different choice save me in a different world.
Back. In the meantime, however, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. This video has been super fun to make, but also very difficult to put together. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, tell me what you think in the comments down below, and don't forget to share it with your friends. Once again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Bookish Theories. Like, that was intense. Please go like this video. Go check out their channel because that was wild. That was absolutely insane. I feel like my head is going to burst with the amount of lore and detail that was put into this. I went kind of halfway down this rabbit hole before the album dropped. Like, I was looking through the social media accounts, I looked through the comments, so some of this I already knew, but it went so much deeper than I did, right? Like, I gave up looking into it maybe a week or so before the album dropped, because I think some of it was tied to some of the spoilers for the album, and I didn't want to spoil the album for myself before I could react to it. And then I definitely didn't follow up with it after the music shows started showing up, like the Inkigayo stuff. So, like, it's really cool to see that they also laid some seeds for the Virtuous storyline. I wonder if we're going to start getting even more of it soon. I would imagine maybe if there is going to be more of the ARG style stuff, it's already started, right? Like, that there is a whole bunch of it for Virtuous already going. Let me know if there is. But yeah, this is wild, man. I know Dreamcatcher has always kind of been there for lore, and they go deep on their storylines, but this is kind of like, hey, we're going to step it up about 15 notches. What do you guys think? Is this kind of lore in your K-pop video something that you like to engage with? It felt really interesting. It's not something that like was mandatory to enjoy the album, right? Like, because I absolutely thought the album was fantastic without going this deep, but the fact that it was there for the insomnia that really wanted to dig for it was really cool. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for us for today, guys. So until next time, love you, bye.